Right, let's start here for you on all angles this hour. As load shedding cripples several sectors of the economy, farmers are ringing the alarm over load shedding's threat to food security. Nqobile Madlala is speaking to farmers in KZN about the challenges they are facing. She joins us now live from Durban. Nqobile, what are these farmers telling you they have to go through and the amount of money and production they're losing because of load shedding?
Well, having spoken to some of the leaders in the farming industry, they've already told us that it has impacted them in terms of expenses that they have to spend in terms of things like fertilizers and so on. Also, things like irrigation has been interrupted, meaning that they cannot create enough crops and so on. But also what they're saying to us is that with different farming comes certain conditions that they need to ensure that the crop, for example, that the chickens, for example, have what they need. And in this case, we are in a chicken farm. And these are some of the farms that are affected because they mainly rely on lights and so on. So we do need electricity. And I mean, I can imagine that you need quite a lot of electricity to ensure that your farming is still going very well. Take us through it. How much electricity do you need?
I do. Chicken farming basically runs on electricity. Brooding system, we use electricity. Brooding system is when the chickens are still small. You need to give them light because they don't have feathers. So for you to protect them and for them to grow, you basically need to brood them. It needs light, it needs electricity. And then you need to extend their daily living, like their day from 8 to 6 with electricity. They don't live on a nature light only. So we basically run on electricity every day. And if it's not there, like you can see, it's a problem. It's a serious problem.
How much of a bigger problem is this?
Okay, first of all, as you can see on this farm that we're standing at right now, we had to close doors because we were losing a lot of chickens. We were having mortalities from 600 to 700 daily. So in a week, maybe we were throwing away more than 3,000 of chickens from the time load shedding started on a serious rate until now. So we're losing money instead of making money, so we decided to close doors.
And what does that mean, though? I can imagine that you had employees that were part of your farm and so on.
Of course. I had 12 employees and they're all unemployed right now. It pains me because when I wake up every morning, I make sure that the people that are depending on me being a businesswoman, they are provided for. But such conditions, it's something that it's beyond my power. I can bend backwards for them to have an income, but if such things are, it's becoming an obstacle for me to provide for them, there is absolutely nothing we can do about it. So it really pains me.
So everyone has had conversations around renewable energy and so on. Can that assist you?
Look, I run 3 farms. The other farm, which is a layer farm, it has a solar system, but we can't run the whole farm on solar system. It's an expensive exercise. It can work, but it's an expensive exercise. And it's not very reliable because if you remember, solar works with sun. So if it's gloomy like this, it gives you problems. So we do have solar system, but it's not really, it doesn't work as much as we use electricity.
Thank you for speaking to us, Tando. I want to bring in specifically, if you could come this way, let's have a conversation, specifically you also in the farming industry. Tell me how hard hit are you? Because I understand that you're doing vegetation here.
Yes, I do vegetable farming, but we've been off the grid for quite some time due to other economic factors that have led to that, like a higher unemployment leads to crime. And because of that, we've obviously had transformers stolen off of the farm, which means we've had no electricity for longer than load shedding has even been a problem. So we've had to make other alternatives. And on our particular vegetable farm, we've been pumping using a tractor implemented, drawn pump. So we have been off the grid since.
And I mean, how much does it cost you to be off the grid?
I mean, I think that's another economic factor that's become a problem, is the hike in terms of obviously oils and fuel. So with the high increase in fuel price, we obviously at risk of having high expenses, which have led to a very, very, very minimal. The margins are quite thin, and it makes business a bit difficult.
And what does that mean for me who's going to a market and trying to buy onions and tomatoes and veggies, really? What does that mean for me when you're struggling?
I think, the demand will almost remain, if not increase, in terms of the need for food. But unfortunately, with more and more farmers coming out of the farming business because of the constraints of being able to run a profitable or successful business, that's obviously going to cause food prices to hike ridiculously. It's going to be quite expensive to actually buy just your basics. I mean, we'll see the price of bread will go up, price of just your vegetables is going to skyrocket because fewer people are producing now.
Would we have a resolution at this point? What can be done?
Well, I've always spoken a lot about a way in which maybe government can have a hand in subsidizing farmers, small-scale farmers, just to encourage and make the production a little bit more affordable, slightly more affordable. Not to sort of invest in the business in such a way that the business becomes an extremely wealthy turnover business. But just to be sustainable, you need some sort of support in order for farmers to be able to stay in the business, especially your small-scale farmers.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, Masego, you can hear their investment very needed in this time. I mean, I think it's very sad to hear that some of the people have even lost their jobs in already a country that is so worried about the high unemployment rates that we are facing, and more people are losing their jobs. And quite possibly the next time you buy your bread, it might be more expensive than what you bought it for a month ago because of this impact that we are seeing in small farmers as well, who are assisting us to get that food on the table as well.
All right, Nqobile Madlala live for us in Durban on the impact of rolling power cuts in the agriculture sector. Let's leave it there for now.